the way you'd be in the elevator. I need to push the button.
Welcome to the Ship's Gonna Happen podcast show. My name's Tony B. Alongside me, as usual, is my partner in crime, David B. and Timmy D. Today's topics, the rail infrastructure. David's going to hit us with that. You heard the teaser. The teaser, too, that you heard also is a record number of trucking firms listed this year by the Journal of Commerce. William Casey wrote the article. We'll touch on that. And Timmy D is going to follow up with topic number 3. How do we get these people back into trucking, these young people? How do we get them in there? David, kick us off with number
1.
Thanks.
Boom. Sorry. Tony's got those alligator arms over there.
Welcome to your Saturday morning, July the 17th, Ship's Gonna Happen show. First off, before we get going, I'd like to congratulate Tim and Lindsay on their little newborn Ace. Congratulations.
Thank you.
It was born earlier this week.
Everybody's healthy. Everyone's doing well.
Healthy and happy. That's what we like to hear, and we're glad. Hopefully, we can get little Ace here, and he's going to be sitting in one of these chairs.
He's going to be a host.
Yeah, he will.
Number
end up
4.
being one of these hosts. So we'll get things going with the rail infrastructure. Tony kind of touched on this a little bit last week on how, we talk about road infrastructure and kind of all kinds of infrastructure here on the Ship's Gonna Happen show. One of the things that we discuss is what is the current condition of the rail infrastructure. And so doing a little bit of studies over the week, not a whole lot of homework, but doing a little bit of homework over the week, I kind of found out that over the last 40 years that the railways have spent over $700 billion of their own money to develop the current network. So they do their best to try to sustain themselves. I know there's a lot of tax-funded dollars in on that, but also they do a great job of trying to sustain their own. And they got a B. As far as a grading scale, they got a letter grade of a B on their infrastructure, which
That's
is
pretty good.
Which is a very high, which is the highest of all of the infrastructure categories. The rails were the highest with a letter score of B, and
Which
so
is
again,
shocking to me.
Yes,
Yeah,
exactly.
surprising.
Me too, and it was shocking to me too. And again, the biggest part of that is that the amount of money that they spend to can maintain their current network. They spend on average about $260,000 a mile to maintain their infrastructure.
Wow.
And so that's really good.
$260,000 a mile?
Yes.
It's a lot of money, man.
That's
It's a lot of rail.
money.
Think about how much railroad.
It's a ton.
That's all that's in this whole United States is built on railroads.
Yeah, it's not just freight; it's also passenger railways and stuff too. So, to your point, Tim, that it is a big. Railways are a big part of the United States, and coming over here before the show today, Tim and I discussed that it should probably even be more prevalent than what it is right now. If there was a line that ran out of Chicago to go to Indy, as far as a passenger rail, picking people up all the way down Lafayette, Lebanon, Zionsville, or wherever, just how good that would work as far as, moving people from point A to point B. And also it would probably help out with the congestion on the roads and travel and getting everybody a little bit more comfortable with taking railways.
You could almost run all the way down Nashville. It'd probably be about from Chicago to Nashville. I bet it's very similar to the line that's out in California, the rail that runs from San Diego up through L.A. and whatnot. I can't think of the name out there. So, yeah, I thought that was interesting. And let's just talking in the car about that.
Yeah, and then also, there's a backlog as far as federal dollars are concerned. Is helping out the railways. They're about $43 billion in the deficit on getting the federal government to help them out. So it's one of the good things in reading about this is the job that they do in maintaining their own infrastructure, and it's probably too bad that the rest of the infrastructure couldn't be that way. But the rails are doing a really, really good job, and it's nice to see that they had a good letter grade.
You got to spend money. You have to spend money. It's the most efficient way to move people and freight.
Yes,
and freight's what concerns me is the transit time on the rail is just absolutely, it's worse, believe it or not, than the LTL trucking. The transit time, the rail, and making those, and I don't know if that's because of the movement of the trains or if that's the rail yard capacity that is just overwhelmed with containers and whatnot that come into different ports that hit your big railhead. So there's a lot of good money. There's a reason why it's been around for 200 years. Because of the efficiency of it.
Right.
And so we got to spend money there. We have to spend money. To your point of congestion, you're going to loosen up congestion if you add more capacity to the rail.
Yeah.
And they're at capacity when it comes down to the LTL market share. I think they're at capacity. They're topped out too.
They have to be.
Yeah, they are at capacity. We made the mistake a couple weeks ago of making a rail shipment out to California to one of our customers because they were paying the freight. So I'm trying to save them a little bit of money on moving the shipment. And it took like 12 days for it to get out there. Of course, a lot of things weigh into that. There's those wildfires that are going on out west, and also the capacity issues. They're just like, once it gets there, like we don't have the time to get it off immediately and get it directly to the customer. So while we are saving some money on doing that, we bid it hard on that transit time.
We got to spend money where it makes sense, and I think when it comes down that a lot of Americans don't realize what the rail does for every single person out there and how it would help you get products faster.
Yeah,
absolutely. And I think that a part of what we talked about before was last week I had witnessed rail going by and it was exactly stacked too high, and you don't see very many of them double stacked, and you're seeing a lot of them double stacked now, so they're trying to get through it. David, thank you for that topic.
Right.
Fantastic.
We are off to topic number 2, which is record number of U.S. trucking companies being brought forth and listed in our in the business entities. Yeah, so I'm researching this article. It's in the Journal of Commerce, written by the legendary writer for our transportation industry, William B. Cassidy, senior editor. But anyways, what it goes through, it kind of shows you the rippling effect of what's happening. But, there is a shortage, but at the same time, we've brought on a record number of trucking companies have listed as entities within the business world. So I took a little look at it, and I was shocked to find out that the big surge was with independent truckers. It's not with companies hiring, the truckers into their unit. It's going on with like Uber Freight hiring these independent truckers, right? And what I looked at is some of the money that these people were making were up to $1,000 a day. So we've talked about that pay before.
Yeah.
And you and I know, we all know, Timmy D and David and the people listening, we've talked about this before. Carriers and truckload companies have looked for various ways to incite and get the people to come on board. And I think Timmy D's got some stuff to follow up on topic 3 with that. But in saying that, it looks like they've went after a lot of veterans. Mm-hmm. So 34% of these new independent truckers, according to the Journal of Commerce, were actually military veterans.
Well, and I think when you brought that up, I remember from a past life, a lot of your veterans nowadays that are going through that because of the 20-year war that's been going on. A lot of requirements, when the first surge started happening, it wasn't there. Everyone just, hey, here's your keys, take off, right? Now they're requiring people to go through Humvee school. They're requiring people to learn how to pull the water buffalo and different driving aspects that the military is already training those everyday jobs within the military. So the experience is there because they decided, hey, it's best. So the military is already paying for that. Why are there not recruiters waiting for those guys to be out of contract? Right. And as things draw down as they are right now, why are we not trying to capture that? They have a work ethic. They're highly motivated and respected.
And strenuously trained.
Exactly. Yes. And so they nothing out there should faze them. Yep. Right? We would think that. And I think it's a great target audience to go after.
Speaking to your point, Tim, you brought up something good there. The accidents were measured. The independent drivers actually reported less accidents overall in the trucking industry than those big national carriers.
Confidence or not.
So only 6% of your owner-operators are women, and then minority owner-operators are about 21%. Both of those numbers could come up drastically. I mean, there's no reason why females can't be truck drivers. Some of the best drivers are female drivers and minority-owned drivers. And then it says most drivers become owner-operators at the age of 36. Mm-hmm. What do we need to do to make that number come down?
Right.
To get people started earlier.
I think like the insurance we talked about, right?
Completely.
The insurance, they raised the cost of insurance for these independent drivers,
yes.
and it looks like they're filling a huge void in the system. So it looks like we maybe need to take a better look at what that insurance should be for them.
Yeah. Well, but who's going to insure them? I'd rather insure the 20-year vet that's been driving. Sure. But do we take a chance knowing that they are United States government trained on what they've been doing? Yep. Or is there an exit school that we add to the military to put them in said jobs that can transition? We talk about how hard it is for veterans to transition from that military life to the civilian life.
Yes.
can we not say, okay, I tell you what, stay with us for 6 more months on the government payroll and have them trained to their next job, whatever that might be, regardless.
Yeah.
And you know, and trucking is real similar to the military, in my opinion,
It
as
is,
far as
yeah.
every day you got to show up at work. You got to be on time, right? You have that drive to get to where it's got to go. You have the knowledge to do your checks and balances. You have a worksheet to go through to do your safety checks, and you're a sense of not getting it's the word I'm looking for here, not getting
Complacent.
complacent. Yes, exactly, complacent.
Timmy D
Those
from
guys,
3.
no, that's you for the complacent. Sorry, folks, I'm not great on English, but you know how it goes. And
Words.
yeah, you listen to Ship's Gonna Happen show, and I think the complacency is a huge fault for a lot of accidents out there.
Yeah.
And you've already pretty much trained your military vets not to be complacent.
So the encouraging number to see here is going with the military vets is 34% of all owner operators currently are military. That's
Yeah.
a pretty high percentage or
Yeah.
whatever. Sorry, Tony, I didn't mean to
No,
interrupt.
that stuck out to me like a sore thumb. And the highlight of it all is less accidents being reported, right? So it's a good thing to see, and it looks like the pace. So it's filling a void, and we'll see some more
Gets
of
them
that.
right into the workforce too.
Yeah.
That's the I think we're missing that target audience for
Yeah,
sure.
they're all Class A, Class B, carrying heavy fuel, they're all certified for the stuff that you really need. So
Heavy loads.
Heavy loads, baby. Hey, Ship's Gonna Happen podcast show. Listen to Tony B. Timmy D's got number 3. Here we go.
Real quick, sort of little teasers. It's all about bringing the younger workforce to us. How in the heck do we do that? I kind of hinted around. So the facts I come up with is the average truck driver is 49 years old. How do we get the 25-year-old involved? Okay, so at 25, I don't know about you two, but 25, I'm invincible.
Yes.
Nothing. I don't care about health insurance. I don't care about retirement. I could care less. I want that dollar now. Whatever that, we got to figure out where that mark is to get those younger drivers in there. We can't take someone that has decided they're not making enough money at 35 years old to go get a CDL that we got to train and then put them in there. Yeah, you get a good 20 years out of them after that when they're 40. But the point of it is, let's start their career when they're younger. Just like when people get out of college, why are there not just strictly driving schools? And my other little teaser to that, to follow up on the moving the age from 21 to 18 so you can start recruiting out of high school. Your trade schools that everyone's missing out, I think, on going straight to college looking for that computer thing. You know, Canada's driving age is 18. Semi drivers only got to be 18 to have your CDL in Canada. I thought that was very unique. And back to the insurance point that you guys kind of brought it up. So, what do we do to get that young person in?
I got a good idea and it's about something you touched on earlier. Like when we all went to high school, right? It was mandatory for me. I'm not going to tell you how old I'm young. I'm not going to tell you how old I am. But when we went to high school, you had to take auto mechanics. You had to take these classes, certain classes, electronics, auto. Right. So why don't they have these kids today? Because the problem is, my kids, your kid, Tim, the newborn, right? And congratulations, by the way.
Thank you.
Ship's Gonna Happen. It's got a new baby on board.
Little Ace. Welcome to the Ship's Gonna Happen show.
Is he a lefty?
He's going to be a lefty and he's going to be a follower. I'm getting set up tonight.
So, but like maybe, so that younger generations are the electric cars are coming, the Ubers, they don't really drive as much as we did, right? They're in a rush to get their license, right? So how do you solve it? You take the high school programs and incorporate truck driving schools into the high schools, and the people that want to be interested in the truck driving, you get them at 16 into a truck because you're going to be in high school till you're 18. You do what Canada did, you lower it to 18, right? By the time they graduate, they're in a truck.
Yep. And also what you do is you get them to learn that being that young, that this goes away.
Yeah.
When you're in the truck, I mean, you
He's
might
holding up a
Dave's
cell phone.
holding up a cell
your
phone.
cell phone goes away.
And he's got a
You
hammer over
concentrate-
top of it.
You concentrate on the driving, not
Yes.
concentrating on other distractions. I mean, that's probably the main thing with
So
that
in
younger generation.
1994, from the ages of 20 to 24, it was right at 10% were truck drivers. 10% of what was in the field was
It's a good stat. Yeah.
Hey, 2013, it was less than 5%. Okay, so you're talking about a 20-year difference, and we've lost
And
half
a big
of
drop.
those.
It's a big drop.
Huge drop because what happened in the 90s? It was college, early 2000s, college.
Go to college.
There's no
yeah.
question. You have to go to college is what they say.
Right.
Which has now translated to your older drivers in the average of 50 years old in the marketplace because we haven't replenished those younger generations.
You know, and I don't, you know, there's just general thought that maybe truck drivers aren't that smart, right? But some of the smartest people I ever met in this industry were drivers. So it doesn't.
They think outside the box.
Exactly.
You earn a good living. You're working hard every day. It's a rewarding job as far as providing for your family or whatever. And it's what moves this country. It's the only thing that moves this country on a daily basis.
And if you look at, you know, most of your workplaces, I think the stat is women hold 43% of the jobs out there to men for all of jobs out there. Yet it's only 6.6% on the truck drivers is women. Why is that? Are we stereotypically saying truck drivers? Is that how we were born and raised? That it's only for a male?
Yeah.
And we know that's not
Historically
the case anymore. The women can do what the men do, right?
Yes.
And I back that.
Or better.
Or better.
In a lot of cases, better.
Right.
Yes.
And it's no longer a manly man job. Women can hack it. There's nothing out there that can't hold them back. And I don't know, there's a lot of stereotypicals out there, but we've got to attract the women base.
Yeah, got to attract them.
So, yeah, I just thought those was very interesting.
It's great topics.
And I want to
Always
give a
good
shout
topic.
out, the oldest man in 2019 to drive a truck. Give me an age.
The oldest man when?
83.
What
83.
year? What year?
This is 2019. Pretty recent. The oldest truck driver in the nation.
I'm going to say 90.
We got a 90 and an 83. Mr. Floyd Van Alstyne, 97 years old. 97. And I got a little dyslexia, but not like that. 97. So
That dude's got
Floyd,
more energy than I do right now.
He's a war dog, man.
We've talked about this before, and I know we need to get things wrapped up here, but we've talked about this before. A good number of my Uber drivers are either retired truck drivers or
Yeah,
been in
right.
the industry, and then the hats off to them, thank them for all their service. And we need more good people like that.
Thanks for listening to Ship's Gonna Happen Show.
You're listening to Ship's Gonna Happen Show. Thank you. This July 17th, Ship's Gonna Happen podcast. We are out.